He's charged with driving while intoxicated. Second offense, you're also charged with failure to stop and give information. On the DWI, you're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. On your other case, you're facing up to 6 months in jail. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you.
The complainant stated she was driving and she was at the intersection when the light was green. She proceeded through the intersection, saw the defendant's vehicle run a red light at a high rate of speed, and the defendant's vehicle was struck by the complainant. The damage to the complainant's vehicle was approximately $9,000. The complainant stated she was never contacted by the defendant to exchange information. The officer made contact with the defendant and observed glossy eyes, slurred speech, a moderate odor of an alcoholic beverage, and unsteady balance. The officer also observed swaying and disorientation. The defendant stated he was driving his motor vehicle when the other motor vehicle struck his, that he was the sole occupant of his vehicle, and that he was driving the damaged motor vehicle that the officers observed on scene. The defendant admitted to consuming alcoholic beverages prior to operating his motor vehicle, that he was coming from a steakhouse and was on his way to his friend's home to sleep, that he had drank 3 bottles of beer at a gas station across the street from the scene, and that the defendant stated he did not consume illegal drugs that night. He also stated he was unsure of which street he was on and rated his intoxication as a 5 from a scale of 1 to 10. The defendant stated he parked his motor vehicle, was going to walk to an apartment complex where the officer stopped him to tell his friends to call the police, and that he could have called the police given that the officers observed the defendant's phone on him. Center field sobriety tests were administered, HGN 6 out of 6, walk and turn 4 out of 8, one leg stand 3 out of 4. The defendant was read the DIC and refused. A blood search warrant was signed and executed.
Did you want to say something?
Judge, I'm not sure about the court, but I'd like to hear a little bit more about leaving the scene. It sounds like
I didn't hear
I
anything.
didn't hear anything on PC.
You didn't say anything about the FSGI.
So on the FSGI, the complainant stated she was never contacted to exchange information. After, and then also furthermore, I can read from the complainant.
He stayed there, right?
No, Your Honor. So allow me to read from the full.
You got to leave.
So he was found at a gas complex, where apartment complex, where he was stopped, and that's where he made contact with the officers. And the full DIMS, I can elucidate that.
So he wasn't
at
the scene of the accident.
No, Your Honor. He was later found in an apartment complex. That's where he was stopped, and he told the officers that he could have called police because they observed the phone on him.
Did he say how far?
Let me see the DIMS if I can see. So we have 0.3 miles, and a bystander saw him walking from the scene of the crash towards the apartment complex.
I'm now placing a restriction on your license, Mr. White. You are not allowed to drive any vehicle that doesn't have an ignition interlock on it. If you're caught driving a vehicle that doesn't have an interlock, I'm going to revoke your bond and we'll put you in jail. I am ordering you also as a condition of your bond not to consume alcohol, illegal drugs, or unprescribed controlled medication. I'm going to randomly test you. If you find that you're consuming alcohol or any illegal drugs, likewise, you will go to jail.